And welcome, football fans, to another episode here of Tim Reynolds Show Live. And guys, we got ourselves a special guest as we talk about Week 14 of the 2025 NFL season. And our special guest here today is my boy TruckerJohn89. Trucker John, give a hello to the audience here on Tim Reynolds Show.
What's happening, fellas? Glad to be here as always, man. And yeah, let's talk some football.
Heck yeah, man. It was a crazy Week 14 in the NFL season, and we're going to get it kicked off here, guys. We'll glance over some of these other blowout games that we've seen with the victories this past week. But hey, between me and Trucker John, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan that I am, and the diehard Baltimore Ravens fan that Trucker John is, I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about our own two teams here on Tim Reynolds Show Live. But let's go over that Thursday night game, man. How about the Lions getting back on track? A 44-30 win. What did you think about that impressive victory there, Trucker John?
Man, Jahmyr Gibbs just solidified his excellence, and the fact that I think he's 24 years old. So we are just seeing the start of him, but for running for 3 rushing touchdowns, that I think that was huge. I mean, he's become so reliable week after week.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, there is some numbers that I actually seen this week that I'm not even joking with you, man. I think we may have the reincarnation, a second coming of Barry Sanders. I said it. I finally said it, dude. There is somebody coming along in the NFL that is actually Barry Sanders-esque. And I think you're seeing that from Gibbs. Now, one thing that really stood out to me is that he's become a big focal point of this offense, more so than we've seen in past years. It seems like almost David Montgomery's become like a little bit of an afterthought, like an actual backup running back to this point. To Gibbs on this team. So I was really impressed to see them get a victory over a team that, let's face it, I think we both expected them to get the victory in this one, correct?
For sure, 100%. I mean, to piggyback off what you just said, and I felt like in the last year or two, the system went, you ran Gibbs hard one week, the next week you ran Montgomery. You came back, you ran Gibbs. That kind of seemed to be their MO. But lately, so far this season, it seems like they're just going Gibbs. And you are correct. Montgomery has become like the true backup, you know. Typically, people look at the Lions and think, man, they have 2 starting running backs, which in theory they do. But right now, they're doubling down on Gibbs, and I think that's smart. I think that's extremely smart.
I like that, man. I mean, honestly, this offense looks dangerous when they are going, but the defense, I think, stood up a little bit for me, going up against a tough offense in the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott playing pretty good football. I mean, he threw for over 376 yards in this one, but only 1 touchdown. And then, man, poor CeeDee Lamb getting hurt in this game as well was a big difference in this one as well. I hope he's okay. That was a tough hit that he took in this game, but a big win for the Lions. And hey, the road doesn't get any easier here for Detroit. And I do want to mention that because of this loss, Dallas almost loses out on any playoff hopes. I think they have like maybe a 10% chance or something like that to make the playoffs because of this loss. But look at this schedule remaining for the Lions, Trucker John, okay? They've got the Rams coming up this week. That's going to be a really good matchup to watch. Then they got the Steelers. Then they have the Vikings and the Bears on the road to end the season. Now, the Vikings have already beaten the Lions once this season, so that's not going to be an easy win for them going forward. So, if realistically, they could lose all these games. I mean, I would probably pick them against the Steelers, but that's still probably going to be a tough one, right? But they could lose all these games, and if they do, they're going to lose out on a playoff spot, man. Can you believe that?
Hey, man, hey, off stream, you and I were talking about Pittsburgh and, you know, their remaining schedule, and that's their second loss right there. Mm-hmm. You said it. You talked it up earlier. I think, you know, Lions and Pittsburgh, not to get ahead of ourselves, I'm excited to hear that they play. That's how much I believe in Detroit. Detroit is playing phenomenal ball. And also, you can't throw out that their defense this past week caused 3 turnovers. They got 2 interceptions and a fumble. And if you're going to win a football game against, you know, a team like the Cowboys, who's capable of putting up points pretty much at any given time, you need turnovers, and Detroit's defense, which they don't really get talked about a lot, right? When you talk about Detroit, you mainly focus on their offense, but their defense did 3 turnovers, so they're doing something right.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. But I think the Lions are going to have a tough road ahead. That defense is definitely going to have to step up over the next couple weeks, even with the injuries that they're dealing with. So we'll get to the Sunday slate here. One of the big victories was the Miami Dolphins getting a win over the New York Jets. Surprise, surprise there, right? 34-10.
Yeah.
Miami opened up, though, man. 21 points in the first quarter. Like, what? Can you answer me this? What is it that firing a team's general manager that all of a sudden just gives them the absolute, like, energy or adrenaline or the effort needed to win football games? Like, what? The Dolphins have played themselves back into playoff contention now, and Mike McDaniel might not even lose his head coaching job with the way he's helped this team win, right?
Hey, man, sometimes it's little things that give a spark, and I've seen it, you've seen it time after time. I can't explain it. I don't know what goes into it. I don't know if the person that's usually let go is really that weighted down on that team. But you are correct, man. Time after time, I see this happen. And, look, I'm excited for the Dolphins. I mean,
I am too.
Capable of putting up points,
especially because like my family members, they're all big Dolphins fans. So I mean, I could see some fans though being a little bit, like, what are we doing here? We should have just lost all the games to have a better draft pick, right? But you got to give it to the team for showing up here. Now check out this remaining schedule. They got the Steelers this week on Monday Night Football. Surprised they didn't flex that out. Then you got the Bengals. The week after that, that should be an interesting matchup right there. And then in week 17, with only 2 weeks left, it could be the Dolphins versus the Buccaneers for a possible playoff spot, dog, because the Dolphins have the Patriots to end the year. And the only way I'm giving the Dolphins a chance to beat the Patriots is if the Patriots rest all their starters, which could happen because they can clinch the division this week with the win over the Bills.
Okay. I mean, definitely doable.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you're not only giving Miami a good chance to beat the Steelers, who just beat your team, the Ravens?
Yeah.
But you're also saying, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just heard you say that you trust them a little bit more than my Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, I'm not going that
far. Okay. All right.
Far.
I'm just making sure to clarify here.
I think that the spark that they're on, if they continue it, that they're capable of running 3 out of the 4, final games of the season. I won't say which teams, will beat who. But, if the Dolphins continue playing the way that they've been playing the last week or two, then, I mean, look, they just put up 34 points, right? Now, you're talking about the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Big deal. It's nuts. But their defense has been on fire as of late.
I would agree.
Long term. So the fact that they were able to go into New York, put up those points, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's some sunshine finally shining in Miami for them. And if they can bounce back into the playoffs, that'll be a crazy story at the end of the year.
And we can't forget, this is a team that dominated the Bills just a few weeks ago, only giving up 13 points. They scored 30. Now, mind you, the last 3 weeks they faced the Commanders, Saints, and Jets. All sort of mediocre teams, right? Well, I mean, look at what I'm saying, though. The Saints just beat my freaking team on Sunday, so it's not like I can say much about that. But I definitely think this has more to do with the defense improving their play, just like you're saying, and them having more of a offensive philosophy of running the football first and passing the football second, which that can bode well for any football team, right? If you want your playoff chances to skyrocket as a football team, you play good defense, and you run the football, and you don't turn the ball over. That's how you make the playoffs, especially when you're 6 and 7. So good luck to the Jets next year. Unfortunately for New York Jets fans, they have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. Very tough year to mention anything good about the Jets. So we'll move on to that. All right. Let's go to another pretty interesting game here, and I'm sure you'll have a lot to say about this one, man, especially for the big news that happened this week in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars get a big win over the Colts to take the lead in the AFC South Division with a 36-19 victory over the Colts. Now, the big news coming out of this was Danny Dimes. He got injured, right? Torn Achilles. He's going to be out for the year, possibly the start of next season too, Trucker John, which, hey, we got to send prayers and kudos to him, man, or just say, hey, get well's wishes to Danny Dimes, man. That's a tough injury for a guy who's been playing really good football this season. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I was disappointed to see that in him. What he's been able to do with the Colts has been it's been impressive. And after the career that he's had thus far, especially with the Giants, it was tough to see. But I know you're about to make an announcement, and I'm curious to see what you have to think about what they're doing.
Yeah, because this is very curious, especially because the internet's losing their mind right now, right? Because to really cap off this game for Jacksonville, they impressed me because they scored 28 points in the first half against this Colts defense. That's pretty good, to be honest with you. They're no chumps. So Jacksonville, to me, coming out of this game, could be a dangerous team, especially if they get some home field advantage in the playoffs. That could bode well for them. But now, the big news to get to this week that everyone's talking about is Phillip Rivers. The 44-year-old former NFL quarterback now unretires and becomes the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, he signs to the practice squad, but this was baffling to me, right, Trucker John? You've got young guys on the roster. You got a young rookie QB that you drafted. You spent draft capital on. Now, he has this knee injury that he mentioned, but I seen video today. He was practicing. So there was like no limitations, it looked like, on him practicing. So I don't know what the knee issue was. But I did learn today, Trucker Don, because, I try to do a little research here every now and then on Tim Reynolds Show just to keep up with the people, right? Did you know Riley Leonard grew up in the same neighborhood that Phillip Rivers lives in?
Oh, no.
Yep. He actually used to train with Phillip Rivers when he was in high school throwing the football.
Oh, wow. Okay. Cool little side note there.
Found that out today. So apparently him and Riley Leonard have a very close personal relationship. And I'm sure that Steichen, with how close of a relationship he's had with Phillip Rivers going back a very long time, somehow somebody had to make a call to someone, right? Like I'm actually tempted, and I think I will. I want to make a little funny comedy video about this because I haven't done one of those in a long time here on Tim Reynolds Show. And I could just imagine that someone came in and was like, all right, coach, looks like we're going to be down Jones the rest of the year. Richardson isn't ready to come back yet from that orbital bone injury. His eye is still injured. And now Riley Leonard says he's got a knee problem, according to the trainer. What are we going to do? He doesn't mention Cam Newton. He doesn't mention any other free agent quarterbacks that we could think of. Like, I guess the first one that came to my mind was Ryan Tannehill. But they didn't call any of those guys. They called him. What do you think that says about what the Colts are trying to do?
I'll be 100% honest. I've thought a lot about this because when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke, right?
Right.
Like, no way.
Yeah.
I've seen Phillip Rivers in his shorts and golfing shirt, and he's picked up the weight. What I see from this is the Colts. I think they're in a situation where they're more likely going to go to the playoffs, right? So they go down their star quarterback. You have, I think for the rest of the season, I don't think we're going to see Rivers. We might catch him the last game or two, possibly. But I think they're going to – the backup has control right now. If he comes out and can do good these next few games, I think they might roll with him and just keep Rivers as a backup as needed. But I think ultimately Rivers never got a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any tie-in there, but I don't know if they're going to bring him in as like a save the day, here you go, run our offense, or if they're going to just keep him if needed. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm baffled by the decision. Like you said, there's so many other guys that they could have went out and picked up that would have made sense. If Rivers still has it, I mean, good for them. I don't know. This is going to be interesting, and I'm curious to see what he looks like football wise, because the man looked like he was hanging out on a beach a couple months ago. So
Well, believe it or not, he's been coaching his kids. He's the head coach for his kids' high school football team. So he has been sort of keeping himself around the game mentally. And as a matter of fact, another little tidbit here for you that I found out today. The offense that he runs for his high school team that he coaches is the same offense that Steichen runs with the Colts. Now, obviously, there's some terminology and certain things that are going to be different compared to an NFL system and a high school system, obviously. But the thing about it is that's really peculiar and I think could work in the favor of the Colts in here is that this is the same offense that Phillip Rivers has ran practically his whole entire career. It's the same offense that he had when he was with the Colts in 2020. So maybe that gives them some hope. But, brother, this is what I know you have not seen. The remaining schedule of the Colts? Yikes. Bro.
who do they play?
They have the toughest remaining schedule in the NFL. They play the Seattle Seahawks this week in Seattle. Okay? Then they have the 49ers on Monday Night Football. That offense is no joke, so that one could be a little bit of a shootout. Then you have Jacksonville and then the Texans. So the next 3 out of the last 4 weeks, they face a top 10 defense.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, wow. Hey, man.
so Phillip Rivers,
Shut up.
let me be the first. I'm going to look right into this camera. I'm going to say, Phillip Rivers, good luck, brother. Because if you can still sling that pill like we think you can, you're going to have to sling it. Okay? You are going to have to throw the football. And you better throw it quick. Because when you talk about going up against the pass rush from Seattle, when you talk about going up against the pass rush from Jacksonville, and then when you talk about ending the season when it could come down to them having to win that game to make the playoffs and they're facing the Texans pass rush, that's scary, bro. That is scary for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I agree, man. But listen, what a story, right? If let's say, at the end of the season, he was the one that came back. The Colts made a push. They made a run. They go to the Super Bowl, whatever. To go back and say, this is what happened. We went out and picked up, Phillip Rivers, and he was finally able to get his Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know, kind of fairy tale, I guess,
Well,
but
definitely.
I'm saying
Someone's making a movie about that. Okay, if Kurt Warner gets his own little Hallmark movie, which I'm never watching that one, but heard it was a little bit 50-50 on the reviews, if you know what I'm saying. If they can make that, this is going to be like a Rudy story, in my opinion.
Yep.
This could be one of those things that it's only written in a storybook ending. And hey, look, I can't blame Shane Steichen because if you got a chance to go with the guy that you know is a veteran that doesn't have to come in and relearn the playbook and sort of not mesh well with the team that's been losing, that's not what you want. Like, Phillip Rivers is going to come in. He's going to energize that group because he hasn't played. He's excited to be on the football field. But I think the funniest thing, too, dude, he's got approval to wear the same number that Danny Dimes had this year.
Did he really?
He's going to be number 17 on Sunday.
Is he starting?
Dude, listen, if Riley Leonard on his first day of practice is right next to him, looking like he's okay, but they've already brought in Phillip Rivers, he's starting on Sunday. You're not bringing Phillip Rivers in to sort of, we'll just see. No, they don't have time to just see. The Colts need to win now. The Colts have to win now, bro. Phillip Rivers is playing Sunday. Mark my words. I'm telling you.
Okay. I'm with it.
Jaguars are legit. I think people can start saying that now, no matter what you want to say about Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I'm picking him to win in the playoffs, but with this defense, they're certainly going to be a threat to walk away with this division. But the Texans are still in this thing, dude, and I know we're going to skip ahead here, but I got to just to transition easily for us. How about the Texans, bro? Have you ever in your lifetime seen an NFL team start 0-3 and end up with an 8-5 record?
So funny you say that. The last team to do that was the 2018 Texans. They started, I think,
It was the
0-4,
Texans. Oh my goodness.
and they came back. I remember you and I were talking about it off stream, and I remember I thought about it, and I was like, no, I feel like that happened. So I did, my little research there, and the Texans started out 0-4, I believe, in 2018, and came back to finish 11-5. So that's a fun little statistic there that the Texans have done it again. So
that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually was thinking about that when we talked before we got on the channel here, and I'm like, didn't what's his name, like O'Brien or whatever the frick his name was that they had a falling out with? Wasn't he the guy that led them to the playoffs with Watson as the quarterback? And yeah, good, sure enough, that's actually the season that won Deshaun Watson a contract that he never even fulfilled. Or did.
Yeah.
Talk about free money.
Worst contract of all time.
Talk about free money, bro. Like I mean, $250 million. Like,
well, I think.
Well, no, he's got like a shoulder muscle that tore. That cost some money. He's got an Achilles that he just tore, so that definitely cost some money. Okay, so I guess he had to use the money to fix those, right?
Yeah, no doubt, dude, no doubt.
But this Texans defense, bro, I mean, I tell you this. I told you this before we started the stream. I watched this whole thing. We did a live stream here, play-by-play on Tim Reynolds Show. Make sure you guys check us out for every Sunday Night Football game. And this game reminded me of the Ravens Steelers back in the day, in those early 2000s with Troy Polamalu and Joey Porter and Harrison Jr. and the guys for the Ravens like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Bro, if you would have been up to watch this game, this was a hard hitting, like had to literally pull every single yard was earned in this game, dude. The defenses were on point. The Texans more so than the Chiefs in the first half, but the way the Chiefs came out in the second half playing defense, getting to CJ Stroud, Chris Jones looked like he was ready to win the Defensive Player of the Year award in this game. That's how good he was playing. But now this is the thing I told you I was going to mention on here when we talked about this game. What do you think of Andy Reid going for it? Look, we got to make sure we get the scene for you guys here, okay? So we start the third quarter. We got 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, all through the third quarter coming from the Chiefs defense against the Texans offense, okay? You start the fourth quarter, it's 6 plays, 19 yards. They force them to punt again, and the momentum is clearly in the way of the Chiefs. And then, tied 10-10, we see a 4-play, 9-yard drive that ends with a turnover on downs at their own 20 or a 31-yard line, John. 31-yard line. I don't want to sit here and like put into play that like Andy Reid is stupid or that Patrick Mahomes in this offense and Mr. Offensive Coordinator Nagy made a stupid call, but that's what it was. Like the offense for the Texans had done nothing. They done nothing. I mean, bro, it took them 6 plays, 31 yards to get into the end zone after that turnover on downs. And then the next drive, they went 3 plays, -2 yards. Even after, being down, losing, the Chiefs defense was still showing up. And it was terrible to see Mahomes throw that interception on the next drive. Did you see that to Travis Kelce?
No, I didn't. I didn't, but I mean, when you're talking about a team like the Chiefs, it's the same with the Ravens. Sometimes you get these calls that are done, and either if they work, he was a hero for calling it, right? And if it doesn't, then people are left with their head scratched. Obviously, they felt good about their situation. It backfired completely. I think that helped change the tone of the second half. But yeah, I mean, when you have a defense and it's working, then you roll with that. You don't switch it up. You don't, try to get lucky. It's easier for us to say that now. Like I said, if he would have made that, then we'd be talking about, yeah, it was a gutsy play, but damn.
Yeah, but I could also
smart.
say in the same regard, if my Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have completed the pass to Kate Otten on 4th down at the end of the game, that we would have went on and win the game. But we didn't win the game. And I don't know. I think at a certain point, and we're definitely going to get into this a little bit when we talk about your Ravens, like we mentioned before we started, which, hey, I want to go ahead and let you guys know here in the chat, we're going to get pretty serious when we start talking about the Ravens, because me and Trucker John have a passion for football, and if there's one thing we've seen from the Ravens this year, it's been disappointment. It's been lackluster, if anything, and we've got to get into it a little bit of maybe why we think the reason why might be. But for me, dude, just to cap off what we've seen on this Sunday Night Football game, the Texans' defense is probably the best defense in the NFL right now. Nobody wants to play this defense. And I honestly, are you picking the Jaguars over the Texans right now to win this division? Because I don't know if I can.
Brother, I'm not going to lie. I have this permanently programmed mind that says that Jacksonville sucks. And they're always going to suck, right? So me, I'm a sports betting guy. I always stay away from those games for some reason. But lately, the Jags have been catching my attention, and I'm not gonna lie, I like what I see. I like their defense more than I like their offense. And same with the Texans, but with the Texans, I like their offense. I like their offense, I know.
So you think that CJ Stroud and them just need to sort of get a rhythm going and start passing protecting better, right? I mean, they do have a lot of good playmakers on that Texan offense. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I was fortunate enough, I got to see Stroud's first ever game in the NFL, as far as like an actual regular season game.
Bro, I watched him in college. He was really good in college at Ohio State.
Yeah. I have been very impressed by the mannerism of him and the way he carries himself, the way he carries that team. I think that I do. I like the way he carries himself. I like the way he goes out. I mean, yeah, they have some bad games, but he slings that ball around. And am I out buying a Stroud jersey? I mean, absolutely not.
You should be. You should be. Number 7 Houston Texans jersey, especially one of them red ones. Come on now, that look good on you, bro. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man.
If it's not black and purple, brother, I can't do it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you the same thing I used to tell some of these haters in the chat here on Tim Reynolds Show, okay? It ain't about repping the team. You're a CJ Stroud fan. So if you're a CJ Stroud fan, you should get a CJ Stroud jersey. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, brother, I've got a Panthers jersey. That's probably one of my best ones. Now, it's a little worn. It's a little dirty. You know what I mean? But it's one of those big stitched, patched jerseys. So it's probably one of my more expensive ones as far as valuable, right? It's a Smith one. Steve Smith. Now, am I a fan of the Panthers? Okay. Hell no. I ain't no fan of the Panthers. I'm not wearing that to root for the Panthers. I wear that because I had respect for fucking Steve Smith. Because guess what? Steve Smith was doing Julio Jones shit before Julio Jones came to Atlanta and did what he did against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't need to get into that because I'm just going to bring back some trauma for Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. Okay? It seemed like Julio Jones was throwing, 200 yards this game, 200 yards the next game, 200 receiving yards the game after that. And for Steve Smith, he was a guy that was always just a pest. He was a really good blocker all the time. He was going to get open. He was going to make the catches in the clutch. And we always had trouble guarding Smith. So, especially him being a former Raven as well, you got to see a little bit of that late in his career. Guy was gritty, man.
We caught a second wind when we first got him. We assumed, all right, veteran, we get a year or two out of him, great. And I forget how long he was here, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he retired a Raven. I could be wrong. A couple of them guys, they always come back, and but what he did here in Baltimore was huge. I'm a huge Steve Smith guy, and you are right. I think once they retire, then I will. But I have a hard time with it. Like, I respect TJ Watt. I think he's a hell of a player. I just could never could never get his jersey, but that's just my own stuff.
Okay,
We'll
look,
like,
I can understand. That's Pittsburgh, right? But
yeah,
let me see if I can throw this out there a little bit, okay? If someone would have told you you could have, let's say, a Jim Brown Cleveland Browns jersey, you're not going to take it?
I could possibly just because that
You
man
are
was
not a
legend.
football fan if you say no to that man's jersey.
Yeah,
I don't care
yeah,
how diehard of a Ravens fan you are. And I did say Browns.
Yeah.
I said Browns on purpose. That's a little touchy subject for Cleveland Browns fans, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
brother,
dude, Jim Brown is the GOAT. So
absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. So this is a perfect transition, though, because I want to get back to what Trucker John was just mentioning about why he's a fan of CJ Stroud, okay? This guy is a leader of men. This guy in the face of and he's been getting hit a lot over the last 2 seasons. Like, CJ Stroud has not gotten the best protection from his offensive line that he should be getting. Let's face facts here, okay? He has all the right in the world to be frustrated, to be angry, to be voicing his opinion otherwise to people and to players and coaches and saying, hey, we got to do better and we've got to get this thing done, right? But he handles himself well. And I think the team follows that. You don't see this offense for the Texans, and they've been pretty bad this year, but you've never seen them really frazzled. You've never seen them upset with each other or annoyed, if you will, to come up with a better term. And I'm like that you said this because this is going to transition us to talking about the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before we get into it too much, man, I do want to give kudos to your team because I thought the defense did some pretty good things overall, especially in that second half to give the Ravens a chance to come back in this one. What was really aggravating to me is that how do you give up negative 8 yards in the fourth quarter and still lose a football game? Just, can you explain that to me?
Brother, I'm always biased, obviously, when it comes to when it can I drive you to school? What time? Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Trucker John being a dad, it's all good, guys. Important stuff. Important stuff.
But this week, this was a huge game for the Ravens. I always love Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Whenever we play, there's that huge rivalry. Unfortunately for me, one play kind of changes everything and changes how I feel about the game. Overall, I think it was a well-played game. I think Aaron Rodgers came out and had his best game of the season. They were kind of able to come out and just move on us. And, the defense, it had moments where I was like, okay, yeah, get them, boys. We were able to do something. But for the most part, Rodgers was able to kind of just do his thing, right? Lack of offense from the Ravens. So frustrating. I think as a Ravens fan, or as a football fan in general, after watching the Ravens the last couple of years, they have this level of standard, right? To where you expect when you sit down to watch a Ravens game that you're going to see. And unfortunately, this season, we're not even getting close to that line. Now, this week, as a diehard Ravens fan, I can say our team has shown a lot of potential this week. We were able. Derrick Henry was able to run. They kind of took him out for a little bit, so I was a little nervous in the first half what was going on. But he came back out. He ran for some yards. Great. Zay Flowers continues to impress me. Zay Flowers is going to go down. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. His movements, the way when he catches the ball and it's like playing Madden. So many good things that we have going. But no matter how good you are,
do you know who Zay Flower reminds me of? I don't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to say this before I forget. Zay Flower reminds me of Santana Moss.
Okay.
Remember Santana Moss? Yes, because he was kind of a shorter guy, but he was a big speedster, but literally could catch just about anything thrown in his vicinity, like a really, really good guy. And I think Flowers has stepped his game up quite a bit as well.
Man, continues to impress me every time. Bateman has regressed for me this year.
Sure,
Bateman is
regressed? That's not the word.
Yeah.
Come on, you are
I
being
know.
way too nice. That is not the
I
word.
am, because there was an injury. He was out for a couple of games.
Bro,
so
there's
that's
an
why I'm gonna
injury
use
with
the
him
word
every
regressed.
year. There's an injury with him every year. Like, I still don't know how Bateman has gotten 2 contract extensions from the Ravens. Like, this
He
guy's
does
got to be
just
the...
enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's got to be a guy who, like, run blocks at full effort, like, practices tough, must be a really good locker room guy, because he has not put up any numbers at all, really, in his career to think that he would have deserved that contract extension. Now, the biggest surprise for me in this offense is why the hell they have not included DeAndre Hopkins more in the offense. They're treating him like he's some third-string wide receiver, which doesn't make any sense to me, because when they throw him the football, he catches the football just about every time, and he barely gets like 2 targets a game, if that. But the glaring weakness I seen with the Ravens, and I wonder if you agree with me, pass rush. No pass rush on Aaron Rodgers. They had 0 sacks on Sunday against the Steelers. What's going on with that, dude?
We've gotten rid of some of the great pass rusher. You know, a couple years ago, we had, I'm going to arguably say, was 2 of the best guys. We had them one on one side, one on the other. That was Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney. And brother, I was thinking to myself, thank God, like, Ravens defense is back. You know, we had our speed in our secondary, but we had those guys up front. This year, we have nobody. We have Van Noy, which these offensive lines, when they play
they almost double him now.
Like, double Van Noy, and we're okay. We really have nobody else to worry about.
Yeah, that trade with OM. No, I'm butchering that, but you know who I'm talking about, right? Because he would just so Owe is he's wrecking havoc right now for the Chargers defense, and you just think to yourself, if the Ravens would have held on to him, could that have been a guy who could have been a difference maker for them? Now I know he wasn't producing at the time of the trade, so therefore it was a valid trade. I'm not gonna discredit the trade whatsoever. But you're just seeing a glaring weakness for them now that I don't think is going away. You know, they had a chance. They could have picked up Jadeveon Clowney as a free agent or during the season, and they chose not to do that. And at the trade deadline, I was shocked that they didn't try to get more pass rushers themselves in deals. And we talked about this too before stream. Something, right? Like, why are they holding on to this, like I think they're putting too much on Harbaugh's shoulders, and I bet I'm probably the only person who has said that. I don't even know, and you're the Ravens expert here. Has any fans even bothered to try to say that about Harbaugh? Like, I feel like they're putting too much on his shoulders. He's having to coach this team up way too much. And I'm sorry, if you have an offense that's depending on the tight end to be your number 1 receiver, you're not going to go anywhere. You guys aren't the New England Patriots. I'm sorry, like. That's probably the only team in the history of football since I've been alive that didn't legitly have a number 1 wide receiver, kind of technically, right? And they still went and won the Super Bowl with him and Gronk doing their thing. Like, that's not this offense and this team in general for the Ravens. They've needed a pass rusher since the beginning of this last offseason. We all knew that, and they didn't address that. And then the second thing is that we've been saying this for the last 3 or 4 off seasons. You need a number 1 wide receiver in this offense. If Stephon Diggs was in this offense, doesn't that account for at least 2 more wins in your book?
100%, 100%. Because now, right now with D-Hop, they're not really worrying about him because
they're not even using him
in his way.
Yeah, they're not even using him. They're putting Bateman at the number 1, 2 at the 2 spot all the time, and that means Flowers can't go in the slot as much as we would like Flowers in the slot. And I'm like, what are they doing with Hopkins? It doesn't make any sense, dude. The play calling this year for offense has been crazy.
For me, I'll finish with the Ravens with this. It's become so accustomed, here in Baltimore, that we never understand the coaching staff. The Ravens, the one thing the Ravens are really good at is finding good talent early on. And the Ravens have, I mean, you know, they have countless guys that over the years that they got as a rookie or pretty close, and they developed them into superstars. I think that's how the Ravens were able to make that deal with Lamar, as far as offering him the money that they did. But the fact that the Ravens never go out and get these number one guys is mind blowing. But here's the funny part. They okie doke us Ravens fans, because what they do is they go out off season, right? We're getting D-Hop. We got him. We're ecstatic. We're like, okay, D-Hop, he can still do it. Could he be our number one kind of Zay number, you know, whatever. And then they don't use them. So we have become so accustomed to it. I'm always curious what people outside of Baltimore think. But the Ravens, man, they need to get back on track. You need to do what works well.
I mean, with Meta
football.
Yep.
Run the football.
You're right. And amen. Run the football.
Yeah.
And play good defense. That's it. Like, Lamar, you feel like Lamar is doing a little too much, and that's what we're going to kind of get into here. When we mentioned about C.J. Stroud, and that's what Trucker John brought up, was, you know, he's a very mature young quarterback. He's a guy that is definitely a leader among men. He holds himself up in high regard, and you see him always upbeat, confident, especially on the sideline. Like, you don't see C.J. Stroud get discouraged. You don't see him get aggravated. You see him sort of take a deep breath every once in a while and go say some words maybe to his offensive coordinator or QB coach, or going to talk to the O-line and make sure everyone's running good. So this is the thing that me and Trucker John have mentioned since the beginning of the year, and it's kind of funny how we're sort of in this spot that we are for Ravens fans, okay? Lamar Jackson just doesn't look like Lamar Jackson this year. Now, obviously, the numbers point to that, and so can the injuries. But the one thing that's really pointed out to me is sort of the same thing that we'll get into with the Philadelphia Eagles, talking about Jalen Hurts as well. I want to mention that as well, is that Lamar's body language and his attitude on the field and on the sidelines is not to where it needs to be. It needs to be in a more professional manner. It needs to be in more of a calm manner. This guy, he must be a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. I don't know Jackson personally. I'm sure you as a Raven fan probably have some opinions on that. But for me, I feel like, is there not a person that's like, there needs to be someone like a Ray Lewis that's able to go up to Lamar Jackson and go, hey, look, dude, you're the person that has to lead this team. Not anybody else, not Henry, not Harbaugh, not anybody else. You have to be the person to lead this team, which means that you have to hold yourself to a different standard than everybody else is. That means when there's chaos all around you, you need to be the guy that's a little more upbeat, or a little bit more of a problem solver, or a little bit more of a, hey, like a go-getter, you know, like, don't worry, guys, we're going to come back. We're going to get it. And I don't get that from Lamar. You see it all the time. They make a mistake. Lamar's throwing his helmet. His head's down. He's throwing his head and shoulders back, almost like he's, I don't want to call him immature or a high schooler, but I don't like, what else can you say, dude? Like, you've got to keep your cool if you want to be able to be clutch in the clutch. Am I right?
Yeah, brother, after our one of his turnovers or first pick or something of last week, in the Pittsburgh game, he went over on the sideline, threw a hissy fit, and the offense, multiple players came up to him in his ear, like telling him, like, you got this, and go, you know, and all these things. And, you know, you're the highest paid player on our team by far.
Yep.
You are our leader. You are the guy we are supposed to turn to, you know, when the rest of the team is in trouble. And, he's not that, man. So, you know, I see a million different stories. I just want to see Lamar get back to Lamar football, simplify things, you know, rely on the rest of your team. You don't have to do it yourself, but also, you know, Lamar sometimes does need to take it upon his hand. You know, I don't know. I can come up with an argument for each, but I just want to see Lamar be consistent, play good ball, and get us back on track. And Lamar Jackson is the main person that can do that. So,
And that's right,
we'll
man.
see.
Because in this game, Aaron Rodgers, 284 passing yards, only 1 touchdown. It was the fact that he didn't get sacked in this game that was the big deal to me, because they only gave up 34 rushing yards. Like, you really let Rodgers and this offensive line beat you like that? Like, I don't know. Now, DK Metcalf had a very, very good game. Kenneth Gainwell out of the backfield is a beast, man. This guy can catch just about anything at the running back position, it feels like. But for me, you had good numbers. So there's a lot of good numbers here. Derrick Henry still running the football pretty damn well for the Ravens. But as we look to the schedule here for the Ravens, that's what's important. Because they've got the Bengals coming up this week. You expect them to win that matchup, correct?
It's tough, man. We just played them and lost
You're
2
right.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
So but we usually split it with them. But you have a hungry Bengals team that they're not just going to roll over and say, all right, let's get a good draft pick. They're going to come out and hope that they can somehow get lucky and get a playoff win.
Well, they're going to need it.
When we
The Ravens are going to need it against the Bengals.
Yep. Well, brother, I've become so accustomed to them, and I know you can never count them out. If Burrow wasn't in, I could count him out. You know, but with Burrow back and he's got a chip on his shoulder, I'm nervous, man. As a Ravens fan, I don't know. I can't say for sure we are making the playoffs this year. And that sucks to say. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Ravens get back on track. But the AFC is a wild place this year, man. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, look, I somewhat agree with you. But just with the remaining schedule they have, you got the Bengals this week. Next week they flex the Patriots game to Sunday Night Football, and then you got the Green Bay Packers after that. Like, yikes. And then Steelers to end the season. So really, Ravens' realistic way of making the playoffs, you got to win out. They got to win out. If they can win out, beat the Steelers at the end of the season, or only lose one of those next 4, I think that gives them the best chance to win, right?
If we lose one of the next 4, then Pittsburgh needs to lose at least to one other team, and then it come down to the last game of the season. That's what I think is personally going to happen. I think it's going to come down to the last game of the season. What we need, as a Ravens fan, is Pittsburgh to lose, and they have a tough schedule as well. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little scared this year at this point in the season. I am a little nervous. So this week is going to be huge. I'm looking for a bounce back week. I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for the Ravens to wake up. I'm looking for.
And you said it. You said it before before the stream. The fans need to show out and show up, and they need to make sure that the Bengals know that the Ravens are not there to play around. Okay, because just because they're on the road doesn't mean they can't take over that stadium there in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have seen that happen before, and Ravens fans can make that happen. So I'm not rolling them out, man. I picked the Ravens to make the Super Bowl for a reason, so I can't back off of them now. But I will tell you this. If they lose against the Bengals this week, don't expect me to pick them against the Patriots and the Packers. Okay, just not going to happen, bro. That's a tough matchup. But for the Steelers, let's give them a little bit of credit here before we go. And no, I'm not going to give them a lot. Okay, so don't get all tied up on me now. But DK Metcalf had probably one of his best games as a Steeler. I was more impressed with the fact that, did you see DK Metcalf on special teams? Bro, that's going viral on the internet after this game. DK Metcalf took over because Skoranek got injured, and he was really hustling and doing good on a couple punt returns. So that was pretty cool.
No shit. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So we got to give the Steelers some credit, though, because with this win, they now have the division lead. And with the remaining schedule that they have, they've got the Dolphins, then the Lions, the Browns, and then the Ravens. So this schedule for the Steelers is a lot easier. So right now, for Baltimore Ravens fans, you're going to be huge Miami Dolphin fans this weekend. Without a doubt. You need Miami to win that one because, I don't see the
That's why
Steelers
I
winning
got
all four.
excited when we talked about the Dolphins earlier, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, man, they can." As soon as I heard they were playing Pittsburgh this week, I was like, "Okay, that's it." Like,
That's good, right?
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting final few weeks of the NFL. I'm excited for it.
Heck yeah, man. And then we'll get to a big one here, man. Someone's blowing up the chat here about, will the Bears make the playoffs? So I guess maybe we should get to that one here. This was probably the most interesting game of the weekend. I'm sure you would agree. I mean, the Ravens and Steelers game was pretty good, but that fourth quarter was not fun to watch by any means.
That pass. I didn't want to bring it up.
What can you, like,
dude,
is that the most dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life? Like, come on.
brother,
If he does that crossing the plane, like stretching the ball out and crossing the plane, and it crosses the plane and then someone hits the ball out, that's a touchdown every day.
Yeah, yep. And that was that one, the main referee, that was his first year in the NFL. And I think that was a bogus call. I think, and I'm not just saying that. If roles would have been reversed, I would have said, and let's say that would have happened to Pittsburgh, I would have laughed. I would have said, we got lucky as shit. You know what I mean? So the fact that Pittsburgh was able to get that win, we came down the field, we did throw that final touchdown that should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say too much about it. Everybody else already has. I've listened to so many big prominent people in the NFL talk about it, and everybody, I haven't heard one person say, yeah, no, that wasn't a catch.
And give it to Harbaugh, your coach, too, because all week this week he has not even tried to mention it and give his opinion on it, but he damn sure wasn't afraid to tell everybody about when the NFL contacted him. And I guess apparently, because I didn't watch the game, but apparently there was a late roughing the passer call against the Ravens that was bogus, and the NFL admitted to that.
Yeah. That's,
I mean, hindsight's 2020, but still.
Yeah, that was a rough crew we had this weekend. I think ultimately, I mean, totally off subject. Well, no, it's on subject, but I think the NFL should be able to call in anytime that they see something clear as day. I think that the NFL themselves should be able to call in and say, no. Like, that was wrong. I think sometimes just NFL's so fast, right? As soon as they run up and start a new play, that's it. You know, but that was a tough call for the Ravens. And yeah,
for me, dude, I would think maybe that replay assist in the future could be something where it's like replay assist, not challenges. Replay assist can step in and say, hey, that was not a penalty. Let's go ahead and pick that penalty flag up if it's okay. But that would be something we just got to hope for in the future. So we get into this game here, battle of two rivals, probably the biggest rivalry in the NFL, right? The Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. One hell of a game here, dude. I don't know if you got a chance to watch this or see much of the stats and whatnot, right? I mean, Jordan Love, 234 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Christian Watson had a breakout performance with 2 receiving TDs. So that was a pretty dang good game overall for the Packers. But, man, the Bears had a chance to win this at the end. And on 4th down and 1, unfortunately for Caleb Williams, he throws the interception, which was his only interception on the day. But he only threw for 186 yards, although he did have 2 touchdown passes. The Chicago Bears can run the football, man, 138 yards on the ground. And that's what was the big question mark for me is that I thought the Bears on that 4th down and short situation, they're right outside of the scoring zone. Like, why not just run the football there? Because you've been running the ball good all day. So probably just an unclutch moment there for Caleb Williams throwing that interception, because I don't know if he's seeing it or not. But Williams had... He had DJ Moore coming in motion, and he kind of goes out and trickles out in the flat, and he's wide open. Like, if Williams just literally practically tosses the football to DJ Moore, he probably runs that in for a touchdown. So I thought that off-balance throw from Williams really kind of like, that kind of shows how young he is and how inexperienced he really is, because that's exactly what that was. His footwork was terrible, and the throw was just thrown up there. And then, hey, let's not forget this too, because I'm sure you may not even know this. Nixon, that guy was in big trouble early in the game. He gave up like a personal foul penalty that had LaFleur in his face, dude. Like, I'm talking like I ain't seen LaFleur this angry in a while. And Nixon was the guy who ended up with the interception, number 25, this year for the Green Bay Packers. And now this guy here, he's going to also end up being an all-pro, because I think he like leads the NFL in batted down passes. And I'm telling you, dude, I've been watching a lot of the Packers games this year. He has batted down a lot of like passes in really good timing. So what do you think of Chicago though, man? Do you think that they're a legit playoff team at this point? I mean, I think you have to, just based on how they played the Packers so well, right?
I mean, yeah, but the problem with the Bears is there's no consistency. So
Especially in the offense.
About 6 weeks ago, or maybe not even, right before the Ravens played the Bears had been, like, a couple weeks prior, they were on fire. And I was very impressed by the Bears, and I was like, oh, man, Bears is a sleeper team. Like,
oh, yeah, but the Ravens beat them. Okay. So that's when you kind of lost faith in them?
Yeah, so well, not just that, it was the way that we beat them, and then then it was like from then on, man. I can't recall the schedule off the top of my head, but I'm like there was a couple losses there, and they weren't playing great ball. I was confused. I wasn't watching every game. I wasn't watching most games, but when I saw the stats afterwards, just there was nothing impressive anymore. So I think consistency. I think that comes with wisdom and more snaps and this and that. But I think they're a playoff team. I mean, possibly. Do I see them going anywhere in the playoffs? Absolutely not. If they make the playoffs, they're out in the first round.
I probably have to agree with you there.
They're a good team. I think give them, another year or two. And I think we're going to be singing a whole new tune. I think they're going to be a long-term, one of those teams. But for right now, man, there's no consistency there. They come out, they have one or two really good games, and then they have a couple bad games. So,
well, it's going to be really interesting to see how this NFC playoff race ends up shaping out, because this year, definitely, the NFC seems a little bit more snacked, or I should say a little bit more stacked than the AFC does this year. Now, about Green Bay, they're 5-2 at home this year. The defense we know is legit, but we do see some inconsistencies with the offense. But I think with Christian Watson having that breakout game, number 9, the big speedy wide receiver for the Packers. And remember, this is the stat that I think not a lot of people are mentioning there, Trucker John. Jordan Love only had to throw the football 25 times. He was 17 for 25 in this game. If that's sort of the game plan that they're going with, where Josh Jacobs can get 20 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown, Jordan Love's only having to throw the football 25 times, and he's that efficient with it, with 3 touchdown passes and over 230 yards, like, they're going to be a pretty tough out in the playoffs, man, against anybody. I think it's really going to come down to how that defense plays. So I'm excited to see what the Packers have going forward. The Chicago Bears have a pretty tough schedule, but they do play the Packers again in a couple of weeks. So the Chicago Bears can make both of us kind of wrong if they get a victory over the Packers in the next couple of weeks. So,
I mean, if they get one, I still, I don't know. I'm a nobody, right? Just in my opinion, though, I need to see consistency.
Yeah.
I think they have more consistency now than the Ravens do. But
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not totally discrediting.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bet on Caleb Williams, especially in the playoffs. So I'm pretty much on board right where you're at. So let's go to our next game here. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills. Did you see this game in the snow?
Oh yeah, that was a crazy game.
Dude, it looked like the Bengals were going to get the upset. The Buffalo Bills were going to get beat at home, which never happens. I mean, they're 6-1 at home this year, right? Last year, playing in that Highmark Stadium as their new stadium's being built right next door. Josh Allen has played himself right back into the MVP race, has he not? Because this team, Buffalo, they only scored 11 points in the first half, right? And so Josh Allen just says, let me put the team on my back and score 28 points in the second half, including 21 in the fourth quarter. But their defense stepped up, too, with a pick 6. That was an incredible play if you got a chance to see that. I don't know how Burrow ended up throwing that pick. That that was just crazy. How, like, Burrow was looking so good, and then those last couple of drives, he throws those 2 picks to pretty much end the game, which was nuts. Josh Allen, 78 rushing yards and a touchdown. He's got the most rushing TDs from a quarterback in NFL history, right? And
oh wow.
And now he went 22 for 28, 251 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns. So he had 4 total touchdowns. Like, yeah, I hate to say it, but he's played himself right back into the MVP race. Obviously, we're not going to get much into it here about the Bengals side of things. Tough year for them. I'm pretty sure we all seen this coming, though, with how bad the defense has been over the years. So for me, the question I have for you, Trucker John, is that this Buffalo team gets a big win here. It's 39-34. They do give up 34 points to the Bengals, so maybe that's a thing we need to pay attention to, because Buffalo coming up next week, they're facing the Patriots. And the Patriots can win the division if they beat Buffalo this week. Do you see Buffalo going into New England and making a game out of this against the Patriots? Or do you think there's no way that we can bet against the Patriots and Mike Vrabel coming off of a bye week?
So, one thing I've learned throughout the years, division games, you never know. You never know in these division games, and when you play somebody multiple times a year, you build this rivalry, and in these rivalries, you can come in at any given point. You don't know what's going to happen. Either team could win. One team could be 15-0. The other could be 0-15. But they can come in and win. So I never doubt the rivalry games. The same with Miami and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Whenever they play, most people are like, oh, Buffalo, easy win.
Nope.
Never. I called it this year. That was the one bet that I made some money on this year.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game no matter what. I think the fact that both teams are top-tier teams is going to make for great football. Yeah, I'm probably, outside of the Ravens game, of course, that's going to be the game that I have the most interest in this week. I think it's going to be a hell of a football game.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to definitely show up to play. I don't know if I'm willing to bet against the Patriots in this one, because their team just looks legit. Like, I'm excited to see the Patriots in the playoffs. I really am. I hate saying that, but, it is what it is. The changing of the guard now is almost like people are saying, are we going to see the Patriots now start dominating this division? Because, I feel like the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens have a lot of similarities, where they have this once-in-a-generation quarterback, and they cannot seem to put the playmakers around him that they need to. And I don't understand why that is. Because with the Bills, it's the same thing as the Ravens. If you take any one of these legit wide receiver ones that are on crappy football teams and you put them on that team, it makes that team extremely better. I'll give you an example for the Bills, because that's who we're talking about here, right? If Buffalo would have traded for Jacoby Myers from the Las Vegas Raiders, without a doubt, that takes this offense to a whole nother level. Without a doubt. And why you don't see Buffalo making those kinds of moves, I'll never understand. I don't. Why are you holding on to draft picks? You could have easily gave a 3rd and 5th round pick to get Jacoby Myers, just like the Jaguars did. I don't understand that for them. So for me, I guess if I had to be put on the spot, I probably would roll with the Patriots in this particular game, just because I think they're going to be very motivated to clinch the division at home, especially this early. And let's not forget, who that bodes well for, I believe, is the Miami Dolphins. Because if the Dolphins face the Patriots in the last week of the season and they're already clinched the division, they're not playing anybody in that final week of the season. Everyone's going to be sitting. And that's what, that would benefit Baltimore and that would benefit Miami. So, technically,
I'm here for it.
Technically, Baltimore fans should be rooting for the Patriots this weekend, is what should be happening.
All right, say less. Say less. You don't have to twist my arm. yeah.
But it'll be an exciting game. That'll be one that I think has a lot of eyes. I was actually surprised they didn't try to flex that one until like Sunday Night Football next week. But you know how that usually works. They're usually far behind when it comes to flexing games and stuff like that. So, okay, guys, we're going to get into our next game coming up here. We're going to talk about my Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a just deflating loss against the New Orleans Saints. And, brother, there ain't going to probably be a lot for us to really go over talking about this one. Tyler Shutt, the rookie quarterback, gets, I think it's his first win as the quarterback for the Saints. Apparently, if you guys just don't know, I'm a diehard Buccaneers fan, and if you didn't know this unique stat, apparently rookie quarterbacks are notorious for getting their first win or a win against me and my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't understand it. It aggravates the hell out of me. The defense in this game was what was aggravating to me, Trucker John. The tackling was terrible. The pass coverage was not as good as it was early in the game. And then this rookie running back, Neal, had a pretty decent game running the ball on us with a touchdown and 70 yards on the ground. And it was Tyler Shutt's legs. They were using the QB option. And he, when they went up for 24-20 in the when they went up 24-17, I think it was, in the fourth quarter, Tyler Shutt took it in on an option play, dude, and broke 3 or 4 tackles in the backfield and ended up running it in for a touchdown. So it doesn't surprise me to see Tampa Bay. They brought in former pass rusher Jason Pierre-Paul. They signed him to the practice squad this week. He's 36 years old, hasn't played in a couple seasons in the NFL, so I'm not sure it's a big impact, but what I think it's saying is that someone probably went to Todd Bowles and went, hey, we need to get somebody in here that's going to get into these guys. Tell these guys we have got to do better. Now, the offense hasn't been that great either for Tampa Bay. I mean, I'm sure Baker Mayfield and the boys want to be able to do better than what they did in this one because, I mean, the Saints defense, they're okay, but Baker throws for 122 yards? Are you kidding me? You rushed for 179, so you ran the ball pretty dang well, but you're never going to win a football game, in my opinion, if you have Baker Mayfield passing for only 122 yards. Come on.
Yeah, dude. We talked about this. There's a chance that Mike Evans will be back this week.
Oh, yes.
So I am excited for that. I really, really, really hope he comes back. Bucks are my NFC team, so I pull for them. I always support them. It's disappointing when I see that, they're in a similar situation that I am, kind of teams.
Bro, my Bucks and your Ravens are looking pretty damn similar right now. Don't have a pass rush, offense too inconsistent, not playing up to potential. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I think for the Bucks, they need to get a swift kick in the butt and know that these next 4 weeks are crucial. The Bucks have to win out if they really want to win the division and make a statement to have a chance of doing anything in the playoffs. But on the positive note, like you just mentioned, for the first time probably all season, we're going to see Jalen McMillan, who's going to play his first game of the season after suffering a neck injury in preseason. That was scary. Mike Evans, back from a collarbone injury, probably 3 weeks ahead of time, to believe it or not. And I know it's probably impossible, but if Mike Evans can average 215 receiving yards a game over the next 4 weeks, he'll get to 1,000 yards. I'm just saying, it's possible.
Hey, they can try. I hope he doesn't.
But, bro, this offense is going to look dangerous. Okay, you have Mbuka, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. Okay? You got Bucky Irvin, Sean Taylor, Rashad White in the backfield. Now, the unfortunate news is that the Buccaneers just lost their starting left guard for the rest of the year due to a knee injury. Now, we've been kind of battling through that offensive line all year long, so I'm not too worried about that going up against the Falcons, who I think, I don't know, this should probably be a good bounce-back game for us, right? When you really look at it, because the Falcons aren't really playing for anything. They've got a bunch of guys out. I know one of your fantasy players, Drake London, is not playing. tomorrow, so that bodes well for Tampa Bay. But what do you think? Do you think Tampa Bay could go on a run here over the next 4 weeks? Because they got to face Carolina twice, and that's who they'll have to beat if they want to win the division.
I think tomorrow will say a lot.
Yes.
I think tomorrow night having everybody back on the field for the first time is going to be huge. I am extremely excited. I think this is going to be like a shot to the heart for, like an adrenaline shot, right? I think this is going to really wake the Bucs up. I would not be shocked if the Bucs win out the rest of the season.
I wouldn't be either.
The chemistry, is going to be there.
I think that loss. I think that loss against the Saints probably did more good for them than it did bad. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Listen, man. It's gonna wake everybody up and say, like, man, if we want this, we got to fight. And I'm ecstatic that their offense is going to be back. They have one of the top 5 offenses in the league when everybody's healthy. And I am extremely excited for the Buccaneers. And tomorrow night, I know I will be sitting there watching that game in its entirety. So,
yeah, it's going to be a really big game. We'll be doing live play-by-play for that game tomorrow night, guys, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football. So make sure you guys come hang out with us. We're definitely going to be going through every single play and be here for you guys live on Tim Reynolds Show. So Trucker John, hopefully you'll be able to chime in with us there a little bit on that game. And heck, dude, maybe even at halftime, as long as the kiddos don't got you too busy and whatnot. Maybe you can chime in with me here like we're doing now, and we could talk about the game a little bit, man. Would be really, really cool. But just going over. Go ahead.
I'm not working now, so I've been staying up for these games, so I think we'll be good.
All right, so let's kind of skim over the rest of this week, guys, just to finish up and wrap up Week 14 here. We kind of went over a lot of the games that were close and that meant a lot, to be honest with you guys. We did see the Tennessee Titans get their second win of the year, 31-29 over the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns may have found their starting quarterback, with Shedeur Sanders throwing for 364 yards and 3 passing touchdowns in this one. Tony Pollard did have a pretty good game as well. I think his best game of the season, 161 rushing yards in this one and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's crazy. As we see Tajay Spears, I would have thought Spears would have been the guy that would have took over this backfield. But Tony Pollard is holding on to it after an impressive game. Hey, man, you might want to look at Spears next week, though, dude, because Spears was the leading receiver on the Tennessee Titans here, Trucker John. He had 2 catches for 28 yards. That led the team, and they won the football game. That's crazy, dude. And then, did you see the end of that game for Cleveland?
No. That was on the same time as the Ravens.
So, at the end of the game, they went for a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and they took Shedeur out of the game and did like a wildcat formation with Junkins. Now, why the hell would you take out the one guy who is literally carrying you in this game with over 350 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, and then you don't let him go for the 2-point conversion? Like, I think Stefanski's trying to get himself fired, bro.
Dude, there was a lot to be said there. I heard a lot of people talking about that. That's nuts. That's a head coach thing. And I don't know. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. But Cleveland did find their future quarterback.
See, and me and you mentioned this, didn't we? We talked about this in private, right? Like, I thought Shedeur Sanders was getting a little bit of a bad rep, and I said if you gave him time to learn the offense, he was going to be able to pick apart especially bad defenses. I think he proved that here in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so guys, looking over some of the other games here, Minnesota gets a big blowout victory, 31-0 over the Commanders. Just a bunch of injuries here for the Commanders in this one. Jaden Daniels went out with another injury. He re-injured his elbow once again, so he's probably going to miss the rest of the year. And then poor tight end Zach Ertz, man, a torn ACL. This hit, I actually saw this live, Trucker John, as I was looking up at my TV for NFL Sunday Ticket. And I kid you not, I seen the hit live where Ertz tore his ACL, and he was bawling on the sidelines. And I guess they caught that on the HBO Max Hard Knocks. that they're going to be showing this upcoming week or next week or something like that for that division. And you just feel for this guy because Zach Ertz has been one of the best tight ends in the NFL for a very, very long time. And you just hope that he's able to come back from this injury because we could have maybe seen the last time we see Zach Ertz play football. So that was tough. I just want to mention that right away because injuries are just a part of the game, but it's just never good.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's Zach Ertz. I have him on my fantasy. He's Mr. Reliable. So I would be very shocked if he comes back another year.
But if he does, we definitely will be rooting for him. Hopefully he makes a full recovery and comes back soon. We did see the Rams. They blew out the Arizona Cardinals 45-17. The Rams look pretty legit, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think Matthew Stafford is the clear-cut winner of the MVP award? I mean, right now, between him and Drake May, I think is sort of probably the 1-2 race for the MVP this year right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, I think I personally would lean more towards Drake May. Just because, Drake May is
impressive turnaround. Yeah, impressive turnaround, very accurate. I would probably agree with you there. I did want to put Jonathan Taylor in there, but I think over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately for Taylor, that's kind of probably died off a little bit as far as the MVP consideration. So I think it's really coming down to these two guys. Now, Bo Nix, if he was putting up better numbers, might be a guy to look out for in the MVP voting. As we see here, the Broncos get a 24-17 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. The Broncos are now 11-2, bro, and they're undefeated at home this year. Can you imagine anybody in the AFC having to go through the playoffs in Denver in Mile High? Bro, that's got to be like the best home field advantage out of any team. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Because, with the air and their elevation. And, yeah, man, I agree. Broncos, they are another team that I'm kind of so accustomed to them not really doing much. And I've had to hurry up and real quickly be like, okay, they're a dangerous team.
Well, we're going to find out about them pretty soon here, bro, because their defense has been playing really, really well. But check out this remaining schedule for them, right? This is sick. They've got the Packers this week. Then they have the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chiefs, and then the Chargers. We're going to find out literally this month. We are going to find out how legit the Broncos are as a playoff team because those are all playoff teams besides the Chiefs. And I'm not even believing I'm saying that. I'm really, that really just came out of my mouth. The only team left on their schedule that is not in the playoffs right now is the Chiefs. That's crazy, bro. Literally the next 3 out of 4 games, the Broncos are playing playoff teams. That's going to say a lot about this Broncos team, man. Legitimately. And I love their defense.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. We didn't really get into the whole Chiefs thing, and I don't have a lot of time, left as far as tonight goes. But
yeah, man.
Look, man, one common denominator that you've stated multiple times tonight. We have a lot of great football coming up in the next 4 weeks.
We really do, man.
Yep, every game has meaning, so I'm excited.
Yep, the Seahawks beat the Falcons 37-9, and the Falcons go ahead and face my Buccaneers this upcoming Thursday. The Seahawks look legit too, especially on the road, 6-1 on the road, so we'll have to look out for them. But you're right, Trucker John, there's a lot of games to look forward to this week, a lot of sort of playoff matchups, if you will, here late in the season with a lot of teams fighting for their playoff hopes. So just want to say thanks again, man, for joining us here on the channel, for talking a little football, and hope you have a good night, my brother.
Yep, you as well, man. Thanks for having me, brother. And yeah, man, tomorrow I'll be up watching the game, man. So
sweet, brother.
Talk then.
All right, take it easy, man. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show for more football content throughout the 2025 NFL season. We'll be live tomorrow, guys, for my live play-by-play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. So make sure you guys go ahead and check us out tomorrow night. And thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Peace out. We'll see you next time.